today's beginner's acrylic painting, it'll be a small seascape on a 12 by 10 canvas board. Nice and easy to do, and a really good one to start with that you can be really proud of. Hello, I'm Simon Hackney. I paint with oils and acrylic, generally with oil, and I do seascapes mainly, though I do landscape as well. I've had a lot of questions, it shows I've done, and people that have seen my art. Do I do lessons? Have I got any tips, etc., etc. What I thought I'd do is start putting something out there where the absolute beginner can pick up, just a few brushes, a few simple brushes, and a limited amount of paint colour-wise. You don't need masses of colours. And we'll get some acrylic, have a little go, and see if you like it. Okay, what we got there is a 10 by 12 canvas board. I've given it a coat of acrylic primer actually, though obviously I also use gesso, but I always use the acrylic primer on my paintings and it doesn't do any harm. It's a good surface to paint on. And I've put some tape across there, just about a third of the way up, just over, to give us a level horizon when we actually get our landscape on there. Okay, right, what I've done, I've actually got some white in the palette there at the bottom, and I've mixed up with some of this. I hope you can see that. Slow drying medium. It doesn't make it dry very slowly, however. It still dries really quickly, which is the downside for many in working with acrylic. Especially if you're doing a lot of blending, etc. So to help the drying time, I'm just going to give this a little spray with some water. Just dampen that surface first, and that should help us with our drying time. And what I'm actually trying to achieve here is just to put on some white in the background that I can actually blend some colour with to make some sort of sky. So without cleaning the brush, I've got white on there. I'm just going to put a little bit of turquoise, a little bit of blue, and just lay on a very simple sky, working from the top down to the horizon, which is where your tape is, and we're just going to blend that down like so. Okay, without cleaning the brush again, I'm just going to get a little bit of red and put that down by the horizon and blend that back up towards the top of the canvas like that. No doubt you can hear my dog barking in the background. I think the postman's on his way or something. Okay. Right, it's important with acrylic to wash your brushes out immediately. If you don't, it will dry in your brush in a heartbeat, and then that's it, that's the brush ruined. So always wash it straight away, or pop it in the water pot if you're not washing it, if you're going to use it again with that colour or whatever, just so that it doesn't dry up too quickly. Okay, we've got something on there that we can use as a sky. Just going to have a drink of tea. I use this cup because I've got an awful habit of putting my brush in it, and with that in there I make sure I can't. Okay, next I'm going to get a fan brush like so, and I'm going to get some of the blue, some of the red, and I'm mixing up lilac-y colour there, mauvey, lilac, whatever, purple colour anyway. And I'm just going to brush on a few clouds, and they're only going to be thin little clouds, nothing too serious. So we can make this one a bit sunsetty. And I'm doing this while this is still wet on the background, because I need to come back in here and blend this, which I'm going to do right now. So I'm going to take a dry brush and I'm just going to blend the bottom of these. And we'll come back in a second and we'll soften these while they're still wet. And it will give us some sort of cloudy thing going on. So taking a softening brush, but any soft bristled brush will do the job. And I'm just going to very lightly brush these over, and you can see they'll take on a cloud-like appearance. There we go. So far we've got a very gentle sky. Make sure you wash your brush. Give it a good wash. Keep it nice and soft. The noise you can hear, I've got a bucket down on the floor there with a wire rack in it. And what I do, I actually rinse out the brush, whether I'm using acrylic or oil, makes no difference. I rinse out the brush and then I beat the bristles on the rack, and it brings it back really as good as new, but you have to do that obviously while the paint's wet. So. Another sip of tea. Okay, so what are we going to do with the bottom? I think we'll have some sort of sea going on. Would probably be a good plan. And to do that, I'm going to get some phthalo green. And just put a small amount of that in the palette. This colour is really, really strong, so you only need a little bit. A little goes a long way with this. Right, so there's the palette so far. We've got turquoise, white, primary blue, primary red, phthalo green, and this is the white down here that I mixed with the slow drying medium to try and keep the paint wet while we're working with it on the canvas. I love using fan brushes. I use fan brushes all the time for loads of things when I'm painting. Right, I'm going to take a flat brush and get some paint on there. So we've got our flat brush again. I'm just going to give the bottom of this a little spray. There we go, brush that in like that. A little bit of the white over there to try and make it slick. So we've got something to help the paint move when we put it on. Remove the tape. We can get it off my fingers. bring that white just up to the horizon line, like so. So it's wet where the tape was. Don't worry if you pull some of the sky colour down into the sea. I mean, this is, or the lake or whatever it's going to be. You can bring the sky colour down into the water, that's always a good thing. Okay, dipping my brush in some turquoise, a bit of blue, some phthalo green. Okay, I'm just going to actually lay that on here, like so. And into that, I'm going to bring some of the sky colour. So we want some of that red and purpley colour that we had, pinks and purples, all of that stuff there. And we're going to lay that down and bring that across where our horizon is going to be, like so. So a little bit of water on my brush, so that paint will move around a bit. Right. Good. So it looks like we've got a nice, calm, evening type of thing happening here. Let's go back in with my blending brush and just blend that out a bit. Definitely the muted colours of evening there happening, I think. Yeah, that's okay. I'm going to try and put a little bit of life into the sea, and I'll do that using a fan brush. So just grab a fan brush, and a little bit of white, and just put a bit of movement into the sea, just a bit here and there, using a rocky type of motion, and it will just give the actual sea, while this is still wet on the canvas, just a little bit of movement, just something going on there. Maybe a bit more white. Blending brush, and just blend that out. Like so. Okay. I think we'll have a couple of little islands or something happening on the horizon. So I'm going to mix that purple colour again that we used earlier, or something similar, maybe a bit more pink. And they're going to be a long way away, so I'm going to add a little bit of white, so that they just fall into the distance. Okay, and we're just going to paint these straight on. I think we'll have a little headland or something there, like so. like that. Okay, can we see that? It looks right. And something on the other side maybe, or maybe an island. Sure, a little island here or something just in the distance. Long way away, so we don't need any detail or anything on it. Yeah. So far so good. I'm trying to keep it, with it being a very basic beginner's painting, trying to keep it as simple as I can, and it's the best way to do it. If you start with simple brush strokes like this and simple techniques, the more you practice that, you become more confident, and then you can start to build up the motion of the waves and everything else, and the seas can become rougher, and you can start getting more detail into your painting. Now, I think we could have a little bit of beach or something going on in the foreground, and for that I'm going to use some yellow ochre. Alright, you don't need masses of paint of course for this. I'm only using tiny bits of paint on this painting. Got some yellow ochre. I might add a little bit of black to the palette. Okay, just to be able to darken in places if I need to. Right, so we're going to take a brush, get some of the yellow ochre, touch of the black, and start painting in something that could be a little rocky outcrop of some description here. Like so. Wet the brush, I think, and with some yellow ochre now. Put in some sort of little beachy thing going on. Alright, so I'm going to blend this. Just soften those edges a bit. While my brush is still wet, I want to get some of the sea colour that I had. Some of that Moby lilac-y colour. Blues. Brilliant. And just literally stroking a bit of movement onto the sea there. And blend that down into the yellow ochre, like so. Okay. No matter how calm the sea is, you'll always see light of some description on it, and the light can be a complex thing when you're painting it on water. But there are some simple techniques for just introducing some light into the picture. And what I'm going to use, in fact, if I can find it, is a palette knife. Even as a beginner, there are ways that you can do this and make it look pretty good. And I use a knife. Okay, you could use a very fine brush. And all I'm going to do with this knife is literally I'm going to take a tiny bit of paint on the edge of the knife, like so. And on the horizon, I'm just going to run that knife across the canvas like that. Okay, and that will give us something happening out in the distance. And if you take a fan brush while that's still wet and pull that down, doesn't have to be a fan brush, it could be any brush. Pull that down. It makes it look like you've got some movement on the water in the distance. A little bit more. Again, just on the horizon. Like so. Pull it down. There. It looks like we've got some sort of wave type thing happening out there somewhere. Bit of surf or whatever washing around the islands. And if we put a few more lines in as we come down, just here and there, it just introduces a bit of light onto the actual surface of the water. And you can see with them being straightish on here that it's a calm sea. Not much happening, a few ripples, quite quiet, as opposed to the big crashing stormy waves that I normally paint. So we've got a few little ripples there. Try and keep them as horizontal as possible. That's the only important thing really with that, until you come right down to the beach. And when you're on the beach, you can put some movement in them, just so you can see that it's like a bit of surf actually, it's just like a little surfy edge where the sea's washing up onto the sand, like so. Okay, good. That's good. Now with a very fine brush, find one. A little brush, where are we? There's all my brushes, there we go. Got a fine brush there, can you see that alright? Okay, it's called a rigger. It's got long bristles and you can get them down to a really nice fine tip. And just with a little bit of dark paint, like we've got on this rock here, so a bit of black, maybe a bit of yellow ochre, because this is quite shadowed, that foreground. We'll maybe just have a couple of strands of something growing up there. Bit of seagrass of some description, something growing up there. Okay, you don't have to be too fussy about this. Not at this stage of the game anyway. I've got a few little things growing there. Maybe a little seed head or two flopping over in the wind. Yeah. There we go. And I think a signature down here somewhere. I always try to keep my signatures so they're not too obtrusive on the artwork. I hate to go in there painting it with like bright red or whatever it may be like that, you know. I think it draws your eye away from the painting and it's defeating the whole object then. Right, okay. And with that, there, in that little amount of time, we've got a nice little seascape, a nice sky, some nice cloud techniques in there, muted tones, easy on the eye, little bit of motion in the water, not much happening. What do you think? I think it's passable. I think it's very acceptable. And if I'd done this for my very, very first painting, I would be a very happy man indeed. So I hope you've enjoyed that, and I hope you watch again, because I'll be doing more of these, of course. Any questions, as I said at the beginning, just ask below somewhere, and if you have time, of course, please take a look at my website. Okay, I'll see you next time. I hope you enjoyed that painting, and I hope you find time to actually have a go at it. If you do a version of it, please post it on my Facebook page, which I'll give the link to at the end, and have a look at the website also if you've got time. The details will be at the end. These are a few of my paintings that are in oil. They're on quite large canvases, and you can find them on the website. They're also on Facebook. All of the artwork, of course, is for sale, and even the painting I did today. And if you'd like to make any donations or anything towards this, please feel free. There will be a link somewhere at the end. This is all a new venture for me, so it sounds a bit like I'm in teacher mode at the moment, but YouTube video is all new to me, so I hope you bear with me. I hope you come back for another look, and hopefully it'll all improve. Many thanks.